Well, I've done prior videos on the topic that the first morality and the primary morality is hygiene. And of course, hygiene starts with the mind and not suppressing thought, because that's the misinterpretation of a specific term in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. I forget the Sanskrit term, but it's always misconstrued as concentration and control. And yoga has nothing to do with that. It has to do with transcending through innocence. And of course the grace of the master. And then after the cleanliness of the mind, through the practice of yoga, there's also cleanliness of the body, and that means the right nutrition done in the right way. And one of the features of our sexuality is that we live a pretty seedy life, inasmuch as pathogens control us and urge us on, and we don't even know it. Parasites, pathogens. And it's no mistake that when God gave us genitals, it was placed next to our anus, because lo and behold, the best way to further the human race is to goad it, push it, stress it with the toxins produced by pathogenic microorganisms in the locale of the genitalia, namely have the anus there and the bladder and all that business. Well, the bladder is sterile. The urine comes out sterile. It's the poop that's the problem. But it's also the solution to extinction. The more seedy, the more gungy human existence, the more babies are made. It's parasites first and foremost. That's the goading factor. And what if you don't believe what I'm saying? There's a test. Two tests you can do. One is to fast on fruits and vegetables. I did it as a teenager, and within 6 months I lost my sexual urgency and instead acquired a shift of my perception of my emotional feelings away from sensuality and the body's physicality and into the heavenly plane that we coexist with if we were to open up our sensitivities to it. And I did when I slept every night, and I woke up with the residual feelings of that heavenly experience held over the next day in activity, and it slowly faded as the day progressed, and then I got a recharge every night when I went to bed. And they were very sweet, very pure and serene, and satisfying, sumptuous, I think is the word Charlie Lutz uses, of refined perception. And there was absolutely no passion involved. It was all very fulfilling in a very conserving manner. You know, this is where the word conservative comes from. It means you don't overexpend yourself, right? You're stingy. But stingy in the right way, in the good way, in as much as you don't waste yourself in areas that you're not really interested in anyway. Just because everybody else is doesn't mean you have to be. And I wasn't born with a strong physiology, so why should I be following the urges of everybody else? Well, because I don't know how to control myself, and there's mental techniques to align one's physical circumstances with necessity. You know, if you don't have born with a whole lot of energy, then you don't waste it. And sex is a quick way to waste it, very pleasant but very quick. But then there's physical things such as hygiene. And lo and behold, there's another technique if you want to test out what I'm saying. You make a lotion out of heated oil. The oil should, the vegetable oil should be capable of being liquid at room temperature. So no butter, no coconut, no hydrogenated fat. It should be liquid at room temperature, or even refrigerator temperature. It should be an oil that can remain in a liquid state. You heat it up with high quality beeswax. Get as high quality as you can find. Usually they're in tiny 1 ounce bars. Don't bother with the 1 pound blocks. Those are not high quality. But you get the 1 ounce bars of beeswax and you melt it with liquid oil, vegetable oil, and food grade turpentine. Has to be food grade. You find the blend that's right for you, both in terms of flavor, you know, and in terms of greasiness, and in terms of stickiness, because the beeswax is going to lend a certain stickiness to it. So you find the right blend that's right for you, for your sensibility, and you allow it to solidify, and you stir it only when you're melting and heating the three ingredients together. Once you've got it thoroughly stirred, they won't separate again, even upon cooling, which is good. And I cool it in a mug. I melt everything in a mug, and I cool it in a mug, and I can use a crock pot with some water as my double boiler to heat up the stuff. And then as a lotion, as a sexual lubricant, it's quite superb because the wax seals everything to some degree. The oil lubricates, which makes it easy to apply. And the turpentine is a parasitic repellent. I doubt it kills parasites, but it certainly repels them. I have the experience fresh in my mind still, it's happening now as I speak, that the parasites are leaving my intestinal tract, especially my colon, where I took an enema with borax, turpentine, and a pinch of salt, and they don't want to be anywhere near my colon and pelvic area. So they've migrated, and I started using food grade turpentine as an after meal mint. You know, instead of an after dinner mint, I just put a drop of turpentine food grade on my tongue, and that's my breath freshener of choice. And I let it soak into my body and work its way down my throat, you know, esophagus to my tummy. So the parasites are trying to leave those areas, such as the stomach and the colon, and they've migrated up to my chest area. And these are the tunnel borers that I get every spring from spider bites, and they're trying to leave that area because they can't stand to be around turpentine. It's disgusting to them. Well, using this lotion on the penis, my circumcised, particularly the head, you know, if flesh is weak, it'll burn. The turpentine will burn, and the skin will come off in dead layers, such as my lips, for instance. But it doesn't mean the turpentine is burning. It's simply killing off weak flesh, weak tissue structure that is not very strong to begin with anyway. So don't miss it as it goes. You're getting rid of something you could do without. But on the penis, it's going to force parasites out of the penis. And so all of the inclination I had for sex is out the window, because I don't have parasites in my penis to aggravate me toward sexual urgency. And that means I get to enjoy erections, like, you know, when I wake up in the morning and I wake up with an erection, and just lay in bed and enjoy it and not do anything about it, because I don't have to. I don't have to. Just enjoy it for what it's worth. It came, and I know it'll go. But while it is, I enjoy it. But I don't do anything to make it happen. I don't play with myself anymore. And I don't apply the lotion unless sexual urgency demands it, which means I've got parasites in my penis requiring it. So I'm living life pretty well. In fact, I'm living life very well. And that's just one of the benefits I've acquired of late. There's several, and I may not be able to talk freely about all of them, but this I can, because it's simple and just about anybody can do it. It's not that hard. It might be difficult to understand and appreciate the background information that I'm providing. Don't worry about it. If it feels like something you want to do, do it. If not, forget about it. And I can't say enough about this other thing that's not on this topic, but it's lactic acid fermented soybeans as a yogurt, using a vegan culture starter and adding in dehydrated vegetables such as kale to flavor it. The lactic acid fermentation food, the lactic acid is a muscle relaxant, and that also is nice too. And of course, grounding myself at night when I sleep at night. Which means, for best benefit, I have to sleep naked in bed, which I don't mind. About the only chance I get for being naked these days. But I just wanted to tell you, and then if you get a bite, an insect bite, put turpentine on it. You'll see how quickly the irritation of that bite disappears, because it's toxins from parasites that's causing that irritation and causing you to want to itch and scratch the bite. Put a little turpentine there and you'll stop the itching, and it'll heal quicker because you're not busy itching it and scraping it and making it worse and spreading the parasites around. They want you to. See, that it's engineered by nature, by their survival mechanism, to irritate us, to goad us to spread them around. And so, when I see movies, they're so busy smooching and kissing. I don't want to badmouth kissing, but when you think about it, it's really a means of spreading parasites around, which is the whole point of romance, is to get into it. It sounds horrible that I'm badmouthing it, but I'm looking at it from a hygienic standpoint, and I've learned so much that I can't help but notice what everybody else seems to overlook, and that means I have to talk about it. If people talked about it, I wouldn't have to. I only share, I don't want to say arcane, the unfamiliar, because I feel it's my duty since the age of 5 to let people know about things that they don't know about. If they already know, then fine, it's taken care of. I don't have to worry about it. But the things that we don't know about, that's what I feel indebted to society to share, to make sure that we have a fuller, richer understanding of our existence. And then we make our own choices based on being a more fully, informed consumer. Informed public. Had to crush a flying insect here. Basically insects carry parasites, so I'm always killing bugs when I find them in my room. Doesn't stop the parasites from reaching me, because they'll come and bite me while I sleep at night, but be that as it may, I try to do my part. So, this is what makes us different in the Kali Yuga than all the prior yugas. It's that pathogenic microorganisms rule our life, and that's where the devil comes from. The devil is what we don't understand, what makes us do the things we do, what encourages us, aside from our reason dictating differently. And why are our emotions and our physical sensations driving us to do things that our reason tells us better? It's parasites, basically. Pathogenic microorganisms, in addition to parasites, Candida yeast creating alcohol, lowering our threshold for scruples. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. So it makes a very interesting lotion to put on the penis to drive parasites out of the penis so that we can live our life free of compulsion. Wouldn't that be a nice thing, And an enema with a drop or two of turpentine in the enema is also a good idea, and using a drop or two of turpentine as a breath freshener after a meal is also a good idea. It's you don't have to overdo it. But it is good to be consistent and persistent and consistent, whatever, because that's the value of a light touch, is that you have to be more frequent about it. But it's actually more effective. If you try to make up for lost time by overindulging, it doesn't work. I mean, you can do it on chocolate cake, but that's because you're not trying to fix anything in a hygienic fashion. You're just trying to satisfy your sensory appetite for chocolate cake, which might work. But when you're trying to be healthy, it doesn't work that way. It's the opposite. You don't indulge yourself to make up for lost time. You be very consistent and frequent and low level. This is how Dr. Becker discovered his regenerative technique, and this is what Colley and Lyman discovered about blood electrification to eradicate something such as retrovirus HIV. You do things with a very light touch, but you do it persistently over a span of time, which requires persistence and patience and all of that, but it gets the job done and it does not stress the body. So nothing I've suggested yet is stressful. Even an enema, there's no point for it to being painful or stressful. But I only do enemas a couple times a year. I don't do it too often. Basically, I pay attention to what I eat and how I prepare my foods. And by preparing them from scratch, I have more control over them. But this is a lotion for topical application on the body, and of course you don't want turpentine around your eyes. One area you don't want it around. It's like getting suntan oil in your eyes, you know, it's going to sting. I can't imagine how it might even destroy the eyes for all I know, you know, because it does burn. You know, I don't want to lose my eyesight just because I have poor eyesight. There's no value in that. So I'm not even going to try using turpentine around my eyes. Anywho, I mean, it might improve my eyesight, but I'm not going to try. I'm not going to take that risk. The eyes are very, very tender. Just open your eyes under the Dead Sea, where the salt content is 11%. Magnesium chloride, which is a double chloride ion. You'll find out how stingy that is. You'll never open your eyes again. And you thought the ocean was bad. You don't know what it's like until you get to the Dead Sea and along the border of Jericho and Israel. I think that's enough said. Thank you for watching.